Right now at 5, change is coming.
For 5 decades, this policy was in place, and it didn't really elicit much of a change.
The U.S. policy toward Cuba officially eases up tomorrow, bringing with it a lot of questions and dreams of a brighter future.
I'm very happy about it because that way people who live there will have more opportunities.
Tonight, CBS 4 News team coverage of this historic change. And of course, with this change comes some excitement, some unease, and a lot of questions.
We're going to try and help you understand it all with CBS 4 News team coverage, beginning with Elliot Rodriguez and what the easing of U.S. restrictions means. Elliot.
Well, Erica, it means that more Americans will be allowed to travel to Cuba and that traveling there will be easier, but it does not mean that you can plan a vacation there right now because restrictions still exist. The changes go into effect tomorrow, and local travel agents are still trying to sort it all out. Americans who want to see communism can now travel to Cuba with less interference from the U.S. government. These categories of American travelers can now visit the island without the need of a U.S. government license. Travel agents and airlines won't need special licenses, and U.S. travelers will no longer have limits on how much they can spend. They'll be allowed to bring back up to $400 in total goods and will be allowed to use credit and debit cards. Travelers can get insurance for their trips, and financial institutions can open accounts in Cuban banks to facilitate transactions. The changes will not open the floodgates of U.S. travel to Cuba because general tourism is still not allowed.
The average American citizens cannot travel to Cuba if it doesn't fall within these 12 groups.
The changes are part of President Obama's plans to normalize relations with the island.
What the president has said is that let's change those policies in an attempt to try something different. As we pressure the Castro regime to do a better job of respecting and protecting basic human rights.
One major change, Cuban Americans will be allowed to send up to $8,000 a year to relatives, up from the current $2,000 a year. And Americans will also be allowed to help build private homes in Cuba.
A Cuban in Miami could help their family building renewing their homes, building additions to their homes, or building new homes, sending equipment for constructions, etc.
Tourist travel is still part of the embargo, which has to be changed by Congress, and Cuba has yet to say how many visitors it'll allow on the island.
The ball is in Raul Castro's court.
Well, Americans who fall into the categories released today still need a visa from the Cuban government, which is not difficult to obtain, but still requires a waiting period before you can book a trip. Elliot Rodriguez, CBS 4 News.